Welcome everybody to Grieving Our Babies Podcast. I'm the host that cares the most, Kalvon Hawkins. This is the space where you can come and tell your story, your pain, your journey through grief. Tonight's guest, my brother. We done did this and got together. We was just supposed to do this for a little business thing that I had met him through some others on other platforms. I met him and we talked about my book, doing the book. After doing the book together, we went to our wedding and stuff out there in Vegas, and we done did multiple podcasts together. Now we talk to each other on the phone, like ain't no telling how many times a day. When I called him and told him I wanted to do a podcast, he was like, "Come on, bro, let's do it." I told him the name, Grieving Our Babies Podcast, and he was like, "You got to get it together, bro. You the only one can do it." So I'm gonna introduce my brother, Santuan Jackson of the Connected Experience. How you
What's
doing
going
today,
on,
brother?
bro? I'm all right, man. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, I thank you, man, because I know on Sundays you do your recordings out there in the D, and you took time out to come and help me to do a Grieving Our Babies podcast intro so we can let these people know what's going on. I appreciate that, bro, for taking time out of your day and time from your podcast so we can get ours together.
For sure, for sure. You always got that, man. And just to touch on how we met each other. So, if anybody out there is familiar with the Gangster Chronicles podcast, at one point, James McDonald was on there. Y'all might know him as Mob James, but we call him James McDonald. And James McDonald wanted a book, and I wrote the book for James McDonald, which hasn't came out yet. But I wrote the book for James McDonald, and through writing that book with James McDonald, James was real enough to share the book with Kalvon and let him see what I could do as an author. And once Kalvon seen that, we got started building our relationship just on the premises of me helping him write his book because we co-authored the book, Justice for Nikisha, Father's Pain. I didn't write it myself. We co-authored it, and the reason we co-authored it is because he already had started. He already had his direction. He already knew the points he wanted to get across, but he wasn't an author yet. So I told him the very first time we spoke, after we established some things, I told him, working with me, I'm gonna make you an award-winning author because this story is worthy of that. Not just because I was writing it with him, but I knew once I heard the story and once we started writing it, and I told him I'm gonna make you an award-winning author. I don't know if he believed that or not, but as of today, we won 2 awards. So Kalvon is now a 2-time award-winning author with Justice for Nikisha, Father's Pain, and our relationship just grew. If you haven't read the book, at one point in the book, I write about him and Janice, the original time they got married, and after writing the book, I end up being at the second time that when they renewed their vows. We went to Las Vegas, and one of my friends actually performed the ceremony for him. So when you do stuff like that with a person, is we don't even talk about business more now as we talk about regular stuff. I wrote about his kids, so I feel like I know him. I wrote about his mother. I feel like I know her. And these people I've never met in my life, but these are people, when you read about them, you would think I knew them because of the details that Kalvon gave me. So I said all that to say that we family, we brothers. I wanted to go on a fitness journey and get myself healthy and get myself into shape. And guess what? He's a former bodybuilder. So anytime I got questions about anything fitness, it's a text or a phone call away. So now that y'all seeing us together more and more, it's because we brothers now. We've been past the business stage of our introduction of writing, but we initially hooked up on the premises of James McDonald introducing us. So we always got to give respect and homage to James because of that, because he knew James before he knew James personally, but I think me and Kalvon have spent more time together than him and James.
Yeah,
Because
he actually just called in and stuff. Right before me and you just got on, he actually called out of the blue, man. It was like, I love y'all. He said, stay focused, little bro. He said, and keep doing what you're doing. He said, you on your way. He said, so just keep doing what you're doing. I
For
told him
sure.
to tell you.
For sure. Shout out to James McDonald. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who put this together. If you don't know me, my name is Santuan. You know me from the author world. I'm award winning author S.L. Jackson. I penned Animal Instinct, The Urban Jungle, which is a fantasy novel. It won several awards. Besides winning several awards, my brother and I, Antoine, because I have a twin brother, we turned it into a award winning full feature anime film, Animal Instinct, The Urban Jungle animated, which could be found on Tubi and all other streaming platforms. Just type that in, and that was my initiation to becoming an author. Kalvon's book that we wrote together, Justice for Nikisha, Father's Pain, was my second book that I've actually released, and that's an award-winning book. But I like that one because I share those awards with my brother, because if you don't know Kalvon's story, we don't got to tell it on here all at once. You'll get the gist of it, but go back and research him and research his story, and you'll understand more why it's Grieving Our Babies Podcast. Because at some points in his story, he just needed somebody to be able to tell his story to that could help. And by help, I mean just listen. Because just listening to his story, you will figure out what role you could play in assisting him with his story. And it was a point in his story that he went live on Facebook. And when he went live on Facebook, that changed the whole dynamics of his story. That all the work he was trying to get accomplished with with getting justice for Nikisha, that once he went live on Facebook, the story literally went global. Once the story went global, it was over. Then came Hulu documentaries. Then came all this other stuff. But it was just his courage to go live on Facebook in front of the police station. See, to get more in depth with his story, I would just suggest reading a book because you go get his story from beginning to end, besides why he needed justice for his daughter, but needing a justice for his daughter, Nikisha, who I look at as like a niece. And I never even got a chance to hear her voice or see her or any of that. But through writing about her, I grew a relationship with her. If that sounds, it might sound crazy, but knowing all of these things about her, I grew to love her because it was coming from her father. And I'm a father of a young girl, a 7-year old. I have my own 7-year old at this point right now. So hearing how his love was for his daughter, it made me love his daughter because I only know him because of the tragedy that happened to her and him not stopping, fighting to get justice for his daughter. So when he called and said that he wanted to do a podcast, he had the name and stuff. And I said, that's perfect, bro, because what Grieving Our Babies podcast is for is it's that outlet that we know that people in these situations need, and you can come tell your story. We not interrupting your story. Whatever you tell about your story, we here to just listen to you. And he can relate. Because oftentimes when kids pass away, get murdered or whatever, they always show you the mother's point of view. And y'all gonna get to know Janice through the podcast and through the book and all of that. But it was Kalvon who went through that hell just so you could hear his daughter's story, just so you could understand what happened to Nikisha, just so you could understand that he told me what he said at her funeral is she won't be a statistic. We changing the world with this. It's people in London, Australia. It's people all over the world that know this story now, and we changing the world with this. So no, she's not a statistic. She's actually one of the few who actually received justice. And I'm here to assist with whatever Kalvon need. Period. He know that he could call me at any time of the night and ask me for whatever he need. And if I can't get it to him at that particular moment that night, it's there in the morning, and vice versa with him. So Grieving Our Babies is here so other people who lost their loved ones and their kids to tell their stories, because it's some stories out there, they all need to be heard because it's all tragic. It's all tragedy. So this is what we doing with this Grieving Our Babies podcast. I have a podcast, me and my brother, the Connected Experience podcast. And everything that I learned, or the people that I met through my podcast journey, I make sure that they help bro. If bro need help and got a question that I can't answer, I know who can answer that. I know who can show them that. Because our whole goal is focused on doing this the right way, and making sure that y'all stories get heard. Because we know his story, and if you don't, you would get more familiar with it. But it's stories. It's so many stories out there that just the mother, the father, they just need somebody to talk to about it, to open these doors and open these floodgates, because the help is on the way. We are the help. We here to help the people who grieving their babies with this podcast.
Yeah, reason why I'm doing this because the doors that I needed open were closed on me and my family. So now they have a person that went through the same exact thing as them, and now the doors will not be closed. Like I told you before when I came on the podcast, or the couple like last month, I'm not turning no parent down, not one. Like if they want to come and talk, I know it's gonna be a hard situation. I'm gonna give them an opportunity to come either to the studio or we can do it remotely like we doing it right now, because you know some of these stories that I'm gonna hear, that we all gonna hear, that the world's gonna hear, is gonna be some messed up situations. And I know there's more stories out there that's more messed up than mine. I'm opening myself back up because remember the depression and stuff that I was in. I'm really opening myself up, to other families and stuff. So I've also went to counselors to help with this, because if people see me getting help from a counselor, maybe I can help them to get help from another counselor too. Even though I'm not a counselor myself, by me helping others, that means we consoling and counseling each other. So they can get it out with me. But if they needed extended help, because I'm not a certified counselor, I have an avenue and information to give them, and the guy already got counselors waiting for him.
Right. And with the counseling, like, I would suggest that to any parent going through a tragedy like this, whether you for or against counseling, it's something that you really should look into, and it's something that you really should try, because when he talking about that depression is real. And then him being a real friend to me, when I was writing this book, I got it. I felt that depression. I understood it, and but at the same time, I was already in my own therapy for my own issues, and I would have to get extra sessions just to talk to my therapist about what I was writing and what I was going through. Because in order, from an author standpoint, when you're writing true stories and you're writing about people that you know and getting to know, you insert yourself in that story. So it was points in the book that you would think I was right there, because he told me that. Like, bro, it felt like you was right there in the room the way you wrote it. That's because I had to embody everything that he was going through in order to articulate it the correct way to the reader. So I've been through the depression with him, because it's a depressing story, but it's triumph, and this ain't even the end. Her getting her justice wasn't the end, because we promised, well, he promised her that she would never be Nikisha. He promised Nikisha that she would never be a statistic, and then he came and got my help with that. So this path is all positive, even though we go hear sad stories and bad stories about what other parents and other loved ones are going through. But this is part of our triumph, because we helping them through their tragedy. And like we said, this is so people have a voice for the voiceless. It's He's from Michigan City, Indiana. I'm from Inkster, Michigan. We often hear these stories of these kids dying, getting murdered, and we might hear it on the news or we might hear it from somebody else. But Grieving Our Babies podcast is so the parents or the brothers or the sisters can come tell the story raw and uncut. You gotta tell it raw and uncut because that's how it happened. There's no sugarcoating the things that he's seen with his daughter, with Nikisha. Is no way to sugarcoat that. There's no way to be soft about that. There's no way to be nice about that. We got to give you these gritty details because it's reality. And by it being reality, we don't want this to be anyone else's reality. Now, we know we ain't superheroes. We know we can't stop none of that. But the more people that hear these stories, the least likely they could become these stories, is the point of view I have on it.
And now, like, I know it's two different perspectives. Like coming from a father, you know, fathers they hurt, but what about the moms? You know, they carried them babies for like they carried them for like 9 months, man, breastfeed them and stuff. So the women, I know by my pain is rough, cause depression and everything. And then, but for the woman, I know it's worse because they birthed those babies, you know. So
Right.
my wife, she's never talked about nothing. And my son, he's never talked about it. But now they said they're gonna open themselves up and they wanted to do the show. My wife never talked about nothing. So I know that's gonna mess me up too. It's gonna mess the world up for the simple fact that she's never said nothing. When I
Nothing,
went
even
down,
through writing a book and everything. Janice, I
never said nothing.
strengthen
Never
her.
picked the book up, never read it, never nothing. Told me she's never gonna touch that book. She said because she know it's in there. But now she's gonna open herself up.
Right. And see, that's something, that's a point of view that me personally, I can't wait to see because through knowing y'all for these last couple years, she's literally never said nothing. She's never given an opinion. She's never, she's never mentioned it. He mentioned, the way I looked at it is she know everything he telling me. So she know I'm getting the raw and uncut from him just because the relationship me and him have. I could call him at 3 in the morning. Hey, if you don't do this, man, we ain't gonna get this done. Click. You know what I'm saying? It's not a argument. It's not a long drawn out conversation. Hey man, get on your shit because I'm here to make sure you stay on this shit. And it's so, but when I first started initially, when I first accept it, because like I said, at first it was a business transaction, and then we got to know each other, and then we became friends, and then we became family. So at the beginning of the business transaction, I just assumed, made an ass out of me and it made an ass out of you, that she was going to be involved because I didn't understand your dynamic and her never speaking or whatever. But when you hear the tragedy and it's a child involved, you, excuse me, you just think you're gonna get both parents' point of view like a package deal, you know? But
Yeah.
when that didn't happen, what I say to you, I say, don't worry, bro. She'll be ready once this come out. What I say about Yacht, don't worry, bro. He'll be ready. He'll talk because they get to feel, they lived his story, but now they get to visualize it from exactly what he was going through with stuff. I don't know if it was stuff in there he never shared with them, how he was feeling. I don't know that. But I know once that was it was put there where they could take their time with it and stuff like that. What I tell you, like, oh, don't worry, bro. They
Yeah,
gonna talk
they gonna
eventually.
they gonna come around and stuff. Like my son, even though me and Janice hurt, Kenyatta, he hurts because he held her. He watched her.
Right. That was the last
Yeah,
person she seen.
yeah. Was her baby brother. And he was
Right.
13 at the time. So it's worse for him going through stuff now. I have to go down there, you know, and go see him and go check on him. We just got off the phone with him. So, and he talking about he wants to come on the show and tell this story.
Right.
So,
And see, and
whatever.
again, I'm so interested in that because like, I don't think I even ever spoke to Kenyatta, but I feel like I know him. I call him Yacht. I don't even call him Kenyatta. The only time I ever referred to him as Kenyatta was the first time you told me his name to write about him. But like I call him Yacht. I feel like I know him, but I still is so interested in hearing his story as being just her little brother and him losing his big sister, but like literally he was the last person to hold her, tell her I love you, took her last breath in his arms type of thing. That's a lot for anybody,
Yeah,
but that's the little
especially as a
brother,
kid. And I
a
named him
kid.
after my best friend. His name was Kenyatta. He was also shot and killed, and I talked to his mom, and then his brother. I'm gonna get him on the show too if he can talk about it. I talk to him all the time, so that's still my brother. So it's been like tragedy, and like I'm telling these parents, like no one can tell you how you're supposed to feel about your child. Of course, it's
Exactly.
going to be backlash. Of course, people going to get mad on this podcast, but it's not for that. This podcast is not for the drama. It's solely for parents that don't have a voice to come on here.
Well, we're not just gonna say parents. We gonna say
No,
people because it's
and
grieving our babies.
yeah,
So
people.
it's
It don't even have to be a baby. Like you could come on here because it's grieving. You can lose your wife, you can lose your husband, you can lose anybody in your family, and just come on here and talk because if you grieving, you grieving. No one is allowed to tell you how to feel about how your feelings are, how you
and
feel
yeah,
grieving.
and how long you should grieve. So just to add context to that, like I lost my grandfather, Ronald Legion, in 1996. He had a heart attack. I was 14 years old, right? And when I think back, I've never. It was up to a point where I never even grieved over it. I just kept it moving. I and then when I thought back from 1996 up until a couple years ago, when I would go over my grandmother's house, I would never even go in the living room. It was decades before I realized that I never even went in the living room because the living room led to his room. And he would normally be back there asleep. So even coming up as a kid, you'll be playing in that living room because daddy in there asleep. But in my head, he was just in there asleep. Because if I don't go back there, I don't got to deal with the fact that that room's empty. He's not in there if my grand, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I said all that to say, I was in counseling one day with my wife, and we were talking to our marriage counselor, and I don't know what she asked me about my grandfather, but like I just broke down crying, like I just lost it. Like I've never cried like that, especially not in front of my wife, especially not in front of someone I didn't know per se as my therapist, and that was the end of my grieving process because I finally got a chance to let it out, and I was full grown with my own child in my 30s, on my way to my 40s. And I'm saying that to say nobody can tell you how long it should take you to grieve or how you could grieve. So anybody out there with these stories that they want to come talk about their children, about their sister, their brother, or whatever, like that's what Grieving Our Babies podcast is for. Tell your story. If one of your people have been murdered and it's an open case where you at, get on here and talk about as much as you can without corrupting that case. But get your story out here because nobody wanted to listen to Kalvon. Period. Point blank. That's just what it boiled down to. It's
Took
not
me
us
six
just saying
years.
that.
Six
It's
years.
yeah. That's just not me listening to him saying it. No, knowing him and knowing the determination and all of that he got, I knew he wouldn't stop. Now that I know him, but nobody was hearing it. And when we say nobody, the truth of the matter is, Kalvon, how long did it take them to solve that case in real life?
Oh,
When did
man. Within a year, I went.
No, I'm saying no. When I say that, they
Oh
knew
shoot, man. Like 30 minutes, to be honest.
30 minutes.
30
Thir-
minutes. They had
that
it all.
case was literally solved in 30 minutes. It wasn't nothing
We was still on
discovered.
the hill when my daughter was laid out there, brother. Like still on the hill, you know what I'm saying, with her covered up and chaos and the police and the coroner and all that stuff. It was like 30 minutes. And they
30
played
minutes.
it in court. And I jumped up. I was like, come on, man. Like, y'all made us suffer for 6 years, bro. And y'all
Hold
had
on. Stop right there. Say that again. They solved the case in real life in how long?
about 30
30
minutes
minutes. But
and
we ain't get no
made me
justice
suffer
until
for
six
six
years
years.
later.
Like
He didn't give
2011
up.
was horrible for us, bro. We lost Keisha 4 days before her 18th birthday, and then 87 days later, I found my dad dead. He died of a broken heart.
Broken heart.
87 days later. So
Right.
that drove me insane.
Right. That's why I say if you're not hip to who Kalvon Hawkins is and why you think that he would be qualified to even come with something like this, I would just suggest reading the book. Do your research on him to figure out why he
Google
would
my
even
name.
want to do this.
Google my name. I've Googled my name now, and I found that. Remember, I sent it to you. I said, "Hey, man, somebody even did a podcast about me in Canada, and I don't even know these people."
Right.
It's several
And
things, and then we went to Vegas. When all of us went to Vegas, when we renewed our vows in there, um, me and Janice had went somewhere, and we was on the elevator, and this lady was like, she jumped on the elevator. She said, "I know you." I said, "What?" And I looked at my wife. I was like, "I don't know this lady. I ain't been in no Vegas without you." So Janice was looking at me. So, and me and Janice kept talking, and the lady steady staring at us. And I was like, whatever. So I walked out the elevator, and the lady said, "I'm sorry about your daughter." I turned around and looked. I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, what you say?" She's like, "You don't see you out here?" She said, that's when we went out there and we had the books and stuff too. Said you are on the radio and they showing you on TV right now. Why y'all out here? And she started telling me about Keisha. And Janice was
right, and
like,
this is stuff we
"I'm
can't make up.
really
We was just in Vegas to do the wedding and
yeah,
release the book. Like that was just like a family event that we was there doing. We wasn't there heavy promoting. I mean, we had on our shirts and things like that. But
yeah,
if you ever been to Las Vegas, you know it's Vegas. It's millions of people out there on a regular basis. But Google Kalvon Hawkins so you can see why he's qualified to do this. And see the thing that I love about this is some people would have just been happy with releasing the book, close that chapter, they got everything out. But we pressing. It's gonna be Bills in the Keisha name that he wrote. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
That's
It's
in the works right now as we speak.
Yeah, and that's something, and that's something we could laugh about because in the book he told somebody that, and he about to have your "told you so" moment. See, when we said nobody would listen, we talk about real authorities. We talk about from the police chief on down to the beat cops. It started. The police hated Kalvon Hawkins. Now that same police department is donating money to the bowling that he do every Tuesday with the kids. Now that same police department want his help and to try to calm the trouble down that's going on out there. See, stuff like that is a testament to who the people are, because we would never have thought in a million years that these people would be reaching out to help, to donate, to do all of this. Because we not reaching out to them for them to do none of that. Because once y'all wouldn't help, it was a middle finger to you. But now we circle back around. They always knew he was right, and they always knew that if they didn't solve this, that to the day he died, he was gonna be up there in their face. It's a special. It's a thing. What's the
Now,
shit? I mean, what's the stuff on Hulu called so they can watch it?
Web of Death. We
Web of
episode
Death.
5 is Web of
Episode
Death.
5.
Episode 5 is called Facebook Live. Like, see, by me, like for those 6 years, me depressed and stuff, and hey man, I just my family had because of depression, they lost me like not physically, but mentally because I was just in that room. You know what I'm saying? And only thing I wanted to do is eat, sleep, and shower. So it's really like I was doing jail time on my own. So and I finally got that justice, man. I was like, hey, it's time to put in work. Then after I got justice, to be honest, I got more depressed because I didn't have nothing else to do.
You
Like,
felt like your work was done.
yeah, I didn't have nothing else to do. So I went into a deeper depression, man. I was like really messed up. I think I was more messed up when I got justice, to be honest. And then that's when I was like, man, let me get this book done. And then that's when, like you said, contact you and I disappeared on you a couple times and you made me get up. You like, hey, bro, listen, you need to write that funeral chapter for me, man. He said, if you can do that, you can do anything in the world. I did it and sent it to you. And then, but like now I deal with everything when it comes to these babies, man. I got that bowling league, the baby bumper bowlers from ages 5 to 16. I got those kids. And I pay the kids an incentive now, like $2 for strikes, $1 for spares. I also mentor in the LaPorte High School. I mentor those kids. You only supposed to mentor like one kid, man, but like I mentor them all. And the teachers now, when I walk through the school, they know my name and the kids talk about me. One of the kids even showed up to my house. I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" It was like the mentor said that you was the right person to mentor me, to help me. So I was like, just did you talk to him? They was like, yeah. So I signed the paperwork for the little girls, and now I'm her mentor on that. And then at first, Michigan City High School didn't want me here mentoring their kids, but now the principal got me to come over there with them. I went in there with them young men, man, and they was like, "Mr. Hawkins, what you doing?" And I'm talking to the kids. I talked to them like 2 weeks ago because school is out now. Talked to them like 2 weeks ago. I was like, "Listen, my podcast is not for y'all." And they was like, "What?" I said, "My podcast is only for y'all to listen to. I'm taking a mental note of every one of y'all faces because I do not want none of y'all parents or you to be on this podcast. It's not for that." And it's like, yes, sir. Like, I don't do that. Don't come on that podcast. My podcast is not for y'all. It's only for y'all to listen to.
Right, right. So if you need to get on the podcast, how would they be able to get on the podcast?
If they need to get on this podcast, go to grievingourbabiespodcastinvite@gmail.com.
All one word?
All one word, all lowercase. I have a lady that I have to get a hold to her. She's the first one that been on there. I mean, up in the email, she sent me some information, so I got to get hers done. And one of my friends, he been with me, man, since I was a little youngster. Whole time we do shows together. We
When you say
always
do shows, explain that. What you mean by do shows?
car shows, because I do car shows around the world up under Keisha's name. Also, it's called TM Battle Zone. That's Team Monster Battle Zone. Keisha's nickname was Monster, so that's why I named everything after her. I got TM Battle Zone. We even got a clothing line. You can go on there and check that out as Team Monster Wear. We got the Nakisha Foundation now. Of course, now we got the Grieving Our Babies podcast. Man, we just doing a whole lot, man. I'm just out here trying to help these parents. And I'm extending. Now I've did it multiple times. I told like the producers and everything, I said, listen, I want to do my city first. And then I help everybody else. Cause it's a whole lot of death here with these kids. It's a whole lot of parents that I know personally haven't got justice. I come back to the same community that broke me and my family heart, and I still want to help.
No, no, we
Don't
still
nobody
gonna
want to
help.
help, huh?
I said not wanna, gonna. We're still
Yeah,
gonna help.
I'm gonna help, but they gotta get rid of their pride and come on this show, man, because it's really gonna help them. And by them come and talk to me, we helping each other because we counseling each other. We You can talk about your kids' memories, and it ain't nothing but a nice counseling session, man. He said because if you get it off your chest, the worst part about it, black men, they don't talk enough. I was that person, just scared to talk or didn't want to talk or was saying to the counselor, "You can't tell me what to do." One day I went up in that counselor office, man. I told that lady, "Oh man, I'm good. Don't worry about it," because I ain't want to talk about it no more. But when when I finally needed her, I had left her, and then I finally needed her. I called her, and she said, "Listen, I'm not fucking with you." She said, "I tried to help you before, and you lied." I said, "Listen, now I'm calling you because I really need your help." And she's like, "I'm not messing with you." I said, "Listen, ma'am." I said, I know what time you get off work, and I'm gonna be sitting on your car." She said, "God dang, he crazy for real. Come on in, let's talk." And then when I went in there, man, she was like, "Nah, I'm gonna help you. And if you do what you did last time, I'm not messing with you." But then, like, she told me, "You done figured it out. You don't need my help no more."
And that's what I was about to say. And through knowing him and through knowing Kalvon's story, he didn't want the help. That's just basically what it boiled down to. He was so depressed that he didn't want the help. And I'm saying that to say this for fathers and other people out there who might feel like that. Just accept the help. It's okay to be Superman to other people because Superman even needed help. That's just the best way to put it.
He had
So,
kryptonite too that broke him down.
right. And when they whipped out that kryptonite, he had somebody there to help him. So we here for everybody, but especially the fathers, especially to come tell your story from a dad's point of view, because again, Justice for Nikisha, A Father's Pain, the book that we co-authored, the award-winning book the award-winning novel that we co-authored, is strictly from a man's point of view and how this man felt. It was no interaction from his wife while writing this, so it's no woman's perspective. And I'm saying that to say that's what these black men who lost their kids need to know, that it's a voice out here that could speak for you or help you get your voice, help you go. He was coping with these things, and before him, I don't know a father who put it out there like the way he put it out there, raw and uncut. I think I heard his story on the Gangster Chronicles podcast, but so I was familiar with his story. So the first time we spoke and established what he wanted to do, if I could help him, if I was willing to help, all of that. Once we got all the particulars out the way and we started going over notes and stuff, I knew that he just needed another man to talk to on a regular basis. We spent hours on the phone, weeks, days, and then one day he disappeared, like literally disappeared. And yo, what the fuck you doing? Like, you got me riled up. You get not you to put it in perspective how I really felt. This is how I really felt. Hey, bro, you dropped all this heavy shit on me and then bounced. And when I say dropped it on me, I got obituaries hanging up. I'm looking at Keisha. I'm seeing her every day while I'm doing this. He describing stuff to me. I'm looking at pictures of him and her, and then he disappears. Face of the earth type of shit. Like, I don't know where he went. You know what I'm
I ain't
saying?
answering no phones, no nothing.
No,
I
nothing.
just
I
depressed.
actually was worried that something may have happened. The more and more that you were missing, you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And once we got back online, hey, bro, you can't do that, bro. You can't leave me like that, bro. Because I'm in the story now. You know what I'm saying? I'm here now. I'm with you now. Like, and this is also a part of the fact that I spent so much time talking to this person. Now I'm concerned about my friend, not concerned about what we're working on, but now because I didn't know that he wasn't out of his depression while we was working on this. It's still certain things that he wasn't sharing. It makes sense now in hindsight, now that I got the whole bigger picture of what was going on. And I can imagine now more that, damn, he got to relive this every time I call him and ask him a
That was
question.
the problem right there.
Yeah. So I might be opening wounds he didn't even know he had, because he'll say something and I'll be like, I ask odd questions to the normal ear, but as an author, these are things that I might want to detail more. So I might have been opening wounds that he didn't even know existed. So now I understand why he disappeared. He just needed a breather. But that wasn't communicated well through neither one of us, because I don't think either one of us knew what the journey that we had agreed to detailed. We both agreed. I agreed to come on this journey with him that actually turned into a different type of journey, because he was already so far deep within his journey. You got to think this happened in 2011. That was 2011, right?
Yep,
This happened in
2011.
this happened July 2011, 4 days before her 18th birthday. And last year we was just celebrating her turn 30.
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying? So the 6 years that it took for them to get the justice, then the years it took to come up with the book, put the book out, and everything in between that, he was already a decade into his journey before we even met. in real life.
When people from London, they flew over here. When I first got the call, I was like, man, yeah, right. I thought it was some scam and stuff. They talking about, no, let's do a Zoom. So they was zooming me from over there in London. And next thing I know, man, they showed up. It was Blink Films, ABC News, and the Disney Channel. Man, they stayed up here for like 2 weeks.
And
Uh,
and episode 5 of Web of Death, Facebook Live on Hulu now is graphic. And I watch that type of stuff because it's Dateline. That's the frame of mind that we have to tell y'all. Think of an episode of something like Dateline. That is like that, right? But to know Janice, to know Kalvon, and then to hear him describe how he felt when certain things happen, and then to see those pictures, like it broke my heart, man. Just because, you watch stuff like that all the time if you into those type of shows,
yeah, I
but
used to watch it on like I was addicted to First 48
and
until
stuff,
I
right,
became the First 48. Till we was
right,
part of that,
yeah.
like man,
But
that's
yeah, but to know somebody, and like I said, Keisha would be a niece to me if I would have met Kalvon and we would have gained this relationship, because our souls are kindred spirits. We were supposed to meet. It's just I hate that this is how we met. But
yeah.
so Keisha is like a niece to me. So to put you in the mind frame of what I'm doing is I'm writing about my niece's life up until the point that she's taken away from us. And then I see the pictures. And then and I know the story. So I know that the police is on their BS. I know all of this. So now I'm seeing these pictures, and to know that it was solved 30 minutes in real life after it was done, now I'm feeling this anger. And I'm looking at it from a father's perspective, because her father is one of my best friends now at this point where I'm watching this. How y'all playing my mans like this? Y'all know what's up? Like, and I'm not angry at any of them, but it's just that's the type of emotions it invoke when you close to these situations. So the reason I said that is nobody wants to be close to these situations. Nobody wanna Everybody want to turn a blind eye until it's about their family,
Until it
and
happened.
then they
Yeah,
expect everybody to help. See, it's deeper than just us saying that they had the case solved 30 minutes later. This happened in front of 150 witnesses that was kids. People were there.
it wasn't
Adults,
just no sneak attack, and
yeah,
there.
adults played a part because of some lame ass street values or street politics or false street code that people think that they follow until it happened to them. And some of these kids talked, but their parents made it where they weren't heard when they were talking. That's what happened in real life. So if you go, we don't have communities no more. We got hoods. In the community shouldn't let these type of things go on. See, the sad part about this is that we can have a podcast like Grieving Our Babies Podcast, because this happens everywhere. Like I said, he's from
It
Michigan
happens
City,
everywhere,
Indiana. I'm
and it
from
happens
Inkster,
every
Michigan.
day.
This
Every
happens
day.
every day. This happens every day. This shouldn't be happening every day. This shouldn't this shouldn't happen, because the community should clean up its own community. And by that not happening, you can't expect nobody to want to help you if you are in a position to help and didn't help. So
It's even,
now,
like since I deal with kids so much, it's even hard for me to like watch the news at time. And I was seeing, man, I was like, another baby killed. I was like, and then the first thing I think about, of course, I'm thinking about the baby, but I'm like, damn, they parents don't even know what they finna endure, man.
what they in for? What
Yeah,
they in
they don't
for?
even know. They don't know the pain, the PTSD. Hey, man, like this stuff wears on like your health, like your weight, your stress, and you have to go on blood pressure pills and stuff. It really wrecks your life, man. It'll make
Listen,
you sick.
yeah. And I want to commend you and Janice for the simple fact, statistically, married couples that lose a child, like 80% of them divorce
Oh yeah,
and
this was
move
really
on with their
supposed to
life.
break us up. It was supposed to be over with for us, man.
Yeah, 80% of them
That lady is
divorce.
a very strong woman, man. I had to apologize to my wife. I had to apologize to my kids, man, because I had to take accountability. And told them I was like sorry because I disappeared as a father. I disappeared. Like Yacht, he used to play basketball, man, like in high school, but that's when that happened. Like, but I'm so um out of it and depressed, and only thing I wanted to do is stay in the room. But this young man playing basketball, if I was up and going to more games and working with him because he loved the sport, working with him, it's crazy. Like that his 11th grade year, they almost got to the championship. So he quit school. He quit basketball because I wasn't no longer able to help him. The next year, same team, same friends. They went down to Indianapolis and won the championship. It's like, man, you on some bullshit, man. Like Keisha wasn't your only child. You feel what I'm saying? Janice hurting. Lil Cal's hurting. Yacht hurting. You can't be this selfish ass man. You get your ass up and do what you're supposed to do because you still have a family, a wife, and you still got other kids. So I have to take accountability for that, bro. Like, and that's what some men not doing that and don't take accountability for their actions. I did that. They apologized to him. You know, they accepted my apology. They know I'm messed up, but that's still not an excuse. Also, I'm telling my community that I want to help them. I know a lot of them don't like me. I don't care about that. But it's not about me. It's not about Keisha anymore. Keisha not a statistic. Keisha known worldwide. Pride is the devil.
She more of a martyr than a statistic. She's more of a
Yeah,
martyr than a statistic.
man, right, man. Pride, bro. Like I forgave a young man that did what he did to Keisha. You know why? Because what I need to keep sweating him for, he where he's at, he's gonna do his time. I even go see him. I know this boy, he had a baby when he was going to when he was going to prison. They can bring him to the bowling alley. You know what I'm saying? That baby has nothing to do with what his dad did to my daughter. And I still wouldn't say nothing about his dad. That's
And
not my
that's extreme growth because when we first interviewed you, when we first sat and spoke on the Connected Experience podcast, that was out. You definitely wasn't going to see him. That was out for sure.
I definitely wasn't forgiving him. That was
Yeah,
out. But
yeah, that was
he's
out.
the main part of that. I work with kids in a high school. I got my own classroom and teaching kids of it in my own classroom. I got that bowling league. So how am I'm gonna teach kids not to hate, and I'm hating this dude. It's not you can't do it.
Correct.
You cannot do it. Say, oh man, he telling these kids not to hate, but he hate. Man, listen, I'm telling them, his family also. I don't got nothing against y'all. I don't have nothing against your son. I forgave your son, and I didn't moved on. Like I'm older, man. Man, listen. When that young man get out, bro, I'll be a senior citizen. I ain't got time for that type of stuff, bro, at all. I'm just trying to be in peace and help anybody else that needs help. So forget about how you feel about me. Come get you some help.
Right.
Who knows? They might be able to get a book deal or Hulu. I wasn't reaching out for that. It went just for, I just wanted justice. It went from me by myself, then fighting the police. And when I did the live to 87,000 people seeing my live, to now over 11 million on the Hulu, and then me on all these other different platforms. Now, with y'all help, I got a platform of my own to help. So you never know while you speaking up and saying what you need to say, what happened. Because I didn't expect this. I wasn't looking for none of this. All I wanted was justice.
And we definitely got justice, but then we told each other this shit gonna change the world some way somehow.
Yeah.
This shit gonna change the world. So, and also, if you want to contact Grieving Our Babies podcast and you can't get with Kalvon, it's okay to contact the Connected Experience. Just tell us you contacting us to get at Kalvon, so you can send an email to podcasttce at gmail.com and let us know you trying to get with Kalvon, and I could definitely get you with him. So, but realistically, we know that this gonna be a hectic job, and we willing to take that on. This ain't for us. This ain't, it is nothing we could do for us with this situation, but help others. So that's what we're doing with this. So if you don't hear from us right away, we not ignoring you.
No, not at all.
We not ignoring you. Just understand that we getting stories of tragedy out, and we ain't the only ones, and neither are you. So you in line. We gonna get back to you. We just want you to know that if you don't, some people go hear from us immediately. It just depends on what's going on that day and that time that you send that email. Somebody might send an email at 4 in the morning. I get up early. I might see that email like, oh, and get it to him at 4:15 in the morning. And he might get it that person at 9 in the morning, depending on where they at in the country, right? And then somebody might send an email and we can't get to them for 3 weeks. We not forgetting nobody. We not. If we get to the point that we got to drop an episode every day, then that's what we got to do. So we not,
I'm
your
opening
story
myself
will
up.
get heard. But
Yeah,
this is what you can't do. You can't hit us up with your story and be lying about nothing. Because you can't make us look bad. You can't do that. You feel what I'm saying? So you have to be honest with yourself first and know how much of your story you want to tell. Because what we can't do is somebody coming and say, well, y'all had them people on from such and such Iowa, and here go the paper, and here go the articles and stuff about that. That's not exactly how that happened. You
because
you
we
know
don't. Once you send me come, once I get in contact with you, or you get in contact with me, we have to put something together. So we gonna research you first before you
that
come on
right.
here.
We're gonna research because the Grieving Our Babies podcast as a brand is standing on integrity and truth so you could tell your story. Nothing can go against that because you never know who's watching, who will be able to help you, and we don't want anybody being helped under false pretense or anything like that.
Yeah, because this right here, this not the podcast to come play games. This is like real, live, true events, true pain, sharing memories and helping each other. So just come on here and just tell the truth. And it's not gonna all well, it's sad, but we still not gonna just talk about all the sad stuff. It's like you gonna
What
have
they're
some
going to do when they come on the show
good
is
memories
tell
of
us
yours.
about their loved one.
Yeah,
They
tell them
go
about
tell us
your
what
loved one.
happened to them, and they go tell us about them because they were a human being and they were someone's loved one and somebody's son and somebody's daughter who care about them because everybody think about the person who passed on holidays, on birthdays, and stuff like that. But this is something Kalvon got to live with every day. That his daughter, that he's not a grand. You might be a granddad by now. We don't get to go to Keisha wedding. We don't get to do these things. We don't
I
get
don't
to
even
see
know her.
her.
That's my only daughter. She don't have no grandchild. None of that by her. And holidays suck over here, man. Like we don't even celebrate holidays no more. We
Right.
don't do it.
And so a crazy thing about celebrating holidays. Now that you say that, like, so the last time I seen my grandfather alive was on Thanksgiving. I didn't celebrate Thanksgiving after that until I got with my wife, and that it was damn near 20 something years later,
Oh
like
wow.
literally. You know what I'm saying? And I told her why, like, well, that's the last time I seen my grandfather. And in reality, now that I look back at it, I should have kept celebrating Thanksgivings because I was happy with that Thanksgiving. I should have been more happy about at least I got to see him that Thanksgiving because
Yeah,
he
because
died December
Thanksgiving is hard
1st.
around here too. Because Keisha used to tear the kitchen up, man. She used to bake cakes all the time. Like she used to take cakes through to other people in like the community and stuff. She used to do all that, and then my dad used to come over. So we lost both of them. So that's why our holidays is like it's pretty jacked up around here. And then I would on holidays, man. I just want to lay down and just be in a room and sleep, or like sometimes it get real rough around here. Like Janice, sometimes she'll show emotion, but I know when something wrong with her because she'll just sleep and sleep and sleep. So I ask her, babe, you cool? And she'll tell me, yeah. But just like she didn't force me to talk about it, I would let her get it out when she wanted to get it out.
Oh
You
man, they
know,
gonna love Janice, man. They go.
oh man, hey, she's so the most humblest person.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all go. Y'all gonna love Janice, man. But Kalvon, I think by now they should know what we getting ready to do, man. So I appreciate you for contacting me and letting me be a part of your intro episode. And it's nothing but we here to help y'all. So again, if you reach out to Grieving Our Babies invite, is it Grieving Our Babies Podcast invite?
Yes, Grieving Our Babies Podcast invite at gmail.com.
Or if you can't get if you hit that and don't hear nothing back, you can hit podcast TCE, all one word, at Gmail, and we will definitely be back with you. But we not forgetting you. We're not forgetting about nobody. Like I said, this might be the type of show that we have to have a show every day.
Man, I'm
It might
willing to
turn
do
in,
it.
it might turn into that. You know what I'm saying? And we not opposed to that. We know what we gotta do to help people get their stories out, so y'all don't gotta worry about that.
Just contact us. We can't get a hold. We can't tell your story if you don't contact us.
And again, Google Kalvon Hawkins, Michigan City, Indiana. Everything about him will come up. The book is uh, Justice for Nikisha, A Father's Pain. You could go to Amazon or wherever you get your books from to get that. Go to Hulu, Web of Death, Episode 5, Facebook Live. Then you will really understand why this mission is happening. You will really get to see with your own eyes how strong somebody is once you hear his story. Because we haven't even told y'all his story. Period. We saying little things, but God man, what for somebody to be able to do what he doing after getting the justice, that's heaven sent. That's something that needs to be. He here because other people need him. That's it. So Grieving Our Babies podcast is strictly the voice and the platform that he needed when he was going through these things. That's all it is. That's the
And
best way to look at it.
see what it says up there. I'm the host that cares the most.
I'm Santuan. That's Kalvon. It was a pleasure, brother.
All right, brothers. Signing off. Grieving Our Babies Podcast and the Connected Experience.